What's up guys, Eddie Armbruster with Pause and Resolve Dog Training. So something I wanted to touch on real quick was just some thoughts that I had floating around for a while now around a situation I had recently worked involving multiple dogs in the house. And a couple of the biggest factors that were leading into the issues they were having. They had two dogs that had basically been living peacefully together for God knows how long. I want to say the youngest was about 5-6 years old, but they had a third dog in the house as well. Hey, sit. Yeah, she's antsy. She wants to go on her hike. And where things went awry was just seemingly out of the blue. Now, these dogs were in the boat of just dogs being able to be dogs, which tends to be a bit of a loaded statement in the way that this is usually just a cover for people not wanting to manage their dogs. Now, I say that, and I don't want that to be taken as these owners not providing structure, not putting in work. Like, in their eyes, everything was okay until it wasn't. They described it as being this overnight shift where everything just hit the fan. And when we broke down the situation, what we got to see was a lot of high-octane moments that weren't under control, between things like rushing through thresholds like the door, Sabi, stop, and being able to just blast out, have run of the yard, go after as many prey items as they wanted. These were both pretty high prey drive dogs as far as, hey, sit, kind of on the hunting side of things goes. Out. Self-soothing shit. And I also kind of taught her to do that, so you know what? Just because it's cool. Sorry, rest. Fine. When we've got dogs that are able to just feed into every impulse, they're not being managed, there's going to come a breaking point, and they hit that. They were able to get unlimited access to cuddles on the couch, and you would see these dogs constantly competing for the space on the couch with the owner. There came a moment with the owners where some medical things came up, and the whole dynamic had shifted with the dogs. So what we needed to do was start working backwards, controlling as much chaos as we possibly could, and restoring order through that basic obedience being applied in the right place. So we had doors that were being blown through by both these dogs. Each one's gonna wait, each one's gonna sit, each one's gonna understand, you are going through on my mark, I am controlling, and this is a resource. When we have the other dog, the third dog in the mix, he was always kind of one egging it on. He would bring this extra chaos to the table, and it would feed into the snowball that was already building between the other two. When it came to being on the yard and both of them going after prey items that were like hiding in their wood pile and stuff like that, okay, well now these dogs are both obsessed with something very high value, and after all the competition they've had between each other, now they're looking to control that resource. So we show them once again, we manage this. I'm all about letting dogs, stretch their legs, feed into their instinct in the right situation, so long as we have control over it. We aren't looking for chaos. We're looking for structure to the madness. So we started touching base on all these. We started making sure that more things were on our permission. We cut out the couch cuddle time. That was done for. In a lot of dog situations, I say like, okay, maybe you can get away with it a little. Situations like that, no, done. That is no longer a resource you have access to. We need that owner not being treated as like a teddy bear to them, but instead being a leader to them. Now again, I don't want any of this to come across like I'm bashing these owners, because they were good owners, and when I started actually putting things in place with them, they took things and ran with it. They just didn't see a problem until it was right in their face. We treat every single part of the equation. We make sure that dogs are having clear rules, boundaries, and limitations set. We make sure that the exercise is structured. We make sure that we're addressing the third party issues. If there is like a third dog in the mix or something like that, if sometimes that's kids. If your kids are out of control, your dog is going to be fighting tooth and nail to keep its shit together. So we're not just addressing one little part of the equation or throwing a band-aid on shit and expecting it to pan out. You run into an issue with your dogs, look at the grand scope of things, make sure that you are checking every box you possibly can, and more often than not, you're solving your issues.